Thank you everyone for joining. I'm Pedro Diaz, Chief Revenue Officer at Tanium. I've been in the road non-stop for the last 3 weeks. Just to give you an idea, last week I was in Europe, around Germany, UK, and Switzerland. The week before in APAC, and this week I'm running around the United States, from Washington to Dallas, and now we are here live in Silicon Valley. I've been having more than 30 conversations with customers, security experts, and partners, and all of them have been bringing this topic that we want to discuss with you today. Mythos is a reality. Everybody has a point of view, okay, but not everybody is able to solve this problem. And we at Tanium today want to make sure that you understand this is something we have been addressing over the years, and we have a strong point of view. This is not going to be marketing fluff. This is not going to be as long as a slide deck, or we are not going to tell you about fake partnership. We are going to tell you the reality and how Tanium can help. Mark, why you don't introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Mark. I'm the VP of Solution Engineering at Tanium. I've been at Tanium for almost 8 years now, and a lot of my job is just bridging the gap and the challenges that our customers face, our most critical customers face, and how our Tanium technology can uniquely bridge that gap for them.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's really interesting you brought up Mythos, and this has been, of course, in the news, and I've been tracking it very closely for the past month or so. And realistically, what I've seen is how the market developed very quickly from, hey, AI is defensible, it's here to help, to AI can also attack our most precious commodities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, Mark, let's start from the beginning, because there are a lot of information in the news, okay, but there is different people understanding what is going on with Mythos. Okay, then if you think about, I don't know, a CIO or even a board member, okay, and the first time they ask you about Mythos, what you will tell them?
Yeah, Mythos is the latest model from Anthropic that is really changing the entire threat landscape across the globe. I know there's a lot of, I speak with a lot of people, and there has been a lot of doubts and uncertainty around AI in general, but Mythos really has proven to us it's able to find vulnerabilities very, very quickly. It's able to also find them very, very easily. And it's finding a lot of them, and it's finding all the oldest bugs that we've never even seen before. And it does this because it's hyper intelligent in understanding exactly how code works from both the internal side, so where you can take it in with your own software and scan it, and the external side. So as a tool for the good guys, this is awesome. We have now a tool that tells us where our castle walls are broken, right? But for the attacker, that same tool is now going to be available. What that means is they can very quickly understand where they can get into your corporation, into your crown jewels. Okay. Yeah, and that's the reality that's shifting for Mythos.
Okay, give me an example of what Mythos is finding.
Yeah, as an example, talk about really, really old bugs, right? FreeBSD. This code base, by the way, is one of the most reviewed code bases out there. Many tools, many human eyes for 27 years have been looking at this code base, and they have not found any issues, or they found issues, but they haven't found this issue. Mythos, on the very first pass, found this critical vulnerability.
I can't believe it. Let's hold on a second. Yeah. You are talking about a vulnerability that has been in the system for 27 years.
27.
Yeah, probably older than you. This is hard to believe. How this is possible?
Yeah, I mean, the reality is because Mythos, like I said earlier, is hyper intelligent. It's able to look at the problem from both the internal side and external side. And because of how it's effectively spawned many, many different agent childs that can do the work, it can look at everything all at once the whole time. And it doesn't sleep, so it's very fast at finding it.
Okay. Is there any other example?
Absolutely. Another one, FFmpeg, right? We're coming to you through YouTube or maybe through some sort of streaming platform. All the video encoding and decoding is done through FFmpeg. If you watch Netflix, YouTube, you're very likely interfacing with this platform. There was one line, and this is literally one line of code in that code base that has been scanned and tested over 5 million times over many years, of course. And no issues have been found.
Yeah.
Mythos, again, came at this thing, first pass, vulnerability, found it instantaneously.
Then Mark, if this is real and this threat is there, I understand also there is a little bit concern on timing. Help me understand why timing is critical here. Is Mythos going to release this to the public soon? And this is why we have have the industry running around?
We are so fortunate, and I wrote an article on LinkedIn recently about this. We are so fortunate that this landed in the good guy's hand right now, right? Imagine if this was discovered by nation state attackers, APTs out there. I mean, we would already be suffering the consequences. Instead, Anthropic as a company has discovered this and has been very responsible to keep the project very tight to their chest. Okay. Now, there's a project Glasswing, which is a sidebar project that's private preview for Mythos. It's invited a bunch of vendors to go in there and effectively utilize Mythos and test their own code or test other code bases. So right now, majority of these vulnerabilities have been disclosed to the companies that they are affecting, but they are not public. However, two things. Number one, there is a disclosure timeline. So within about 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, these vulnerabilities will be disclosed regardless of whether the vendor addresses it. That's number one. Number two, we can't close our eyes to this problem. The fact that Mythos has been discovered by someone here in US means that everyone in the world now is 100% confident they can get there. And they are pushing as fast as they can with their AI and agentic models, right? Which are almost as good or not sometimes better than some of our models to get there. And very soon someone will build their own Mythos, whether we share or not.
Okay, I got it. And this is why the urgency in the industry. This is why we need to take an action now. And we need to take an action because at the end we are going to need to update millions of endpoints at the customer side, right? In order to be protected.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Everybody in the industry has an opinion, okay, and they have a point of view in AI, driving threats and so on. Why the people watching this should trust Tanium as a partner on this? What gives us the right to be in the conversation?
Yeah, I think fundamentally, Tanium was always built for Mythos H. Number one, we have an incredible depth in our endpoint visibility and control through our platform, through our technology. The ability to real time understand what's out there, IT, OT, IoT, everything, cloud, right? Everywhere in the world. That's the kind of capability that we need in a Mythos age. And secondly, we can take action on those endpoints at machine speed. So that means, hey, if we detect that there's a deviation for a compliance check, change it. If there's a setting that's wrong, modify it. We can make these changes quickly and we can do them autonomously. So there's no human interaction, right? If Mythos finds a vulnerability, we can very quickly remediate it through our platform. Number two is, I kind of hinted at earlier about scale. So I have so many customers that deploy across the globe. Japan, Europe, America, in their corporate office, maybe they're down the street at the Starbucks. How do you secure agents? Like if I'm working at the Starbucks, Pedro, how do you secure my laptop? The only solution is something that can work no matter where your endpoints are. And Tanium does that, and we've been doing that for decades. And the last point is really about speed. At this point, it's pretty clear. If we react at human speed, right, if patches take 72 hours, it is way too slow, right? And just forget about 30-day patch windows. I think 72 hours is gonna be too slow. But Tanium is able to do this at machine speed. So when we, for example, I was last week updating some applications on my desktop to showcase my customers how fast Tanium can run. I updated 3 different applications within 15 minutes. My customers, they were asking us to do that within 24 hours because that's what they're so used to today.
I think it's important, Mark, that we call out that this is not something new for Tanium. We have been doing this for decades, as you mentioned. Okay, the thing is now is super critically important that we can put that technology that we have patented over the years at the service of our customers. Okay, then I got it. Like imagine now I'm a CIO, okay, and I see this is a real threat. Okay, what I should do and how should I engage with Tanium?
Yeah. So when we think about deployments and implementation, I really think about this layered approach that we offer all of our customers. Layer 1 is all about asset inventory and asset visibility, right? Having a continuous understanding and discovery of what's out there, whether it's shadow IT, shadow AI, unmanaged endpoints, those are unacceptable today, right? You cannot have somebody in your office with some machine that's not managed by your endpoint management system. So that's very important as layer 1.
Okay, but we have been talking about inventory hygiene for years. Are you telling me this is still not reality?
Unfortunately, yes, actually. So many of our customers out there, right? Unfortunately for them, the first conversation I usually have with them is around asset visibility. Their CMDB is out of date. They can't use it. In fact, ServiceNow is our customer, right? And for the exact same reason, right? ServiceNow, as a CMDB platform, understands that they can accelerate their actual utilization internally if they have a stronger CMDB. And they're using Tanium to feed that data and ensure that their CMDB is up to date and in real time.
Okay, that's layer 1. What about the other layers?
Yeah, layer 2 is about asset intelligence. Just understanding every asset out there, understanding all the information out there is not enough. You really have to understand criticality understand your exposure, understand which ones of your assets are most vulnerable and which ones have the most valuable assets. Because again, attackers also have this data. They're not going to target every single endpoint in your environment. They're going to go for the crown jewels. So understanding and you having that real-time understanding of what your crown jewels are, and as they shift, right? Because maybe some applications become more important, you want to be able to autonomously prioritize them as well.
Okay.
And that brings us to layer 3. It's all about autonomous IT. So this is the thing that, as Tanium, we've been kind of pushing for a while now, for over, I think, 3 years. It's really about the ability for us to say, take your IT and compress the time to remediation, right? If you're doing things like scan, report, create a ticket, human review, 72 hours, that is going to be way too slow. That's already too slow today. It's going to be way too slow in a post-Mythos world. So what Tanium is going to do for you is the ability for us to come in there with all this data that we've already gathered from phase 1, phase 2. We're going to compress the scan time by continuously scanning. And then we're going to prioritize the assets that need the most critical remediations. And then, of course, those are then deployed autonomously, right? With safety, of course, with our ring deployments, with the ability for us to do things like confidence scoring, to understand what patches are going to perform well, which ones are going to have issues, and then proactively stop them if they are going to cause problems in your organization.
Yeah, and I think, Mark, if I may, I would like to call out that we are not doing this alone. Okay, we have been working with 2 strategic partners, Microsoft and you mentioned ServiceNow, and this is not something new. We just came up and now talking, we have this partnership. Microsoft, we have been 3 years in a row partnership of the year for Microsoft. Or ServiceNow, as you mentioned, they use even our technology and we use their technology. Okay, we have been partners for years. Okay, then I got it. Then, okay, I understand Mythos, I understand the threat.
Yeah.
I understand also we have a big time constraint, okay, that these models are going to be released at the end of July, then I think all of us, we need to start acting now, yes. Okay? I'm guessing this project can be taking years, okay? If I decide to move forward with Tanium, how fast can be the implementation? Is this something that it takes, I don't know, 1 year, 6 months? How this project normally works?
Yeah, I think that's the really good news here. Tanium has proven with our current customers how fast we can implement. Here's some examples, right? With McDonald's, a giant corporation, millions of endpoints. We deployed over 1 million endpoints in just under a couple months. The government of Canada, Canadian government, over 100,000 endpoints. That deployment took just under a month. And ServiceNow, as we've been mentioning, 30,000 endpoints in just under 2 weeks. So Tanium deploys very, very fast, and we can give value to our customers very, very quickly. Yeah. Earlier, we kind of talked about layers and approach. I kind of want to throw some questions at our viewers actually today, if you don't mind. So when I think about preparing yourself for Mythos, right? Really, you have to think about whether you have full visibility in your environment. And what that means is like, hey, IT, IoT, shadow AI, any of this type of stuff, if you don't have confidence today, how are you going to get there? Number 2, when you're thinking about exposure management, when you're thinking about managing and securing your endpoints, which ones are your most critical assets? And how do you ensure that those critical assets are prioritized? And do you even know where they are? And the last question I have is, when a vulnerability inevitably comes today, what is your timeline and what is your speed at which you can remediate, right? And really think about that question, because I think it changes drastically between what is acceptable today as an SLA and what is going to be tomorrow when all this stuff floods the market.
Yeah, I love those questions.
Yeah. And Pedro, like, you talk to so many CIOs out there and IT leaders in that field. What's your honest assessment opinion about where those organizations are on preparedness? And maybe from today's conversation, what's the one thing that you would say they should take out of today's conversation?
I think the first thing, and I think is super important, is we have been trying to hammer this message over and over again. This is not something new that Tanium is starting now because of these new threats. We have been doing this at a scale and at the speed required for years, okay? Just to give you an idea, we are protecting the most secure countries in the world. We are working, for instance, United States, we are working with 6 out of the 6 armed forces. We protect, you mentioned, government of Canada, UK, UK, France, NATO, Japan, NATO users, as I just mentioned, or even the Australia government. But not just big governments. We are also working with local and state at all levels. I'm from Southern California area. We protect the water district of Southern California, okay, just to make sure all the infrastructure are protected. But not just that, also in the traditional enterprise, okay? When we are in the private sector, we are, I don't know, just using the US market as an example, 90% of the top 10 banks in the United States use Tanium.
It's huge.
70% of the retailers, okay? Then we know how to do this, and we know how to do this at scale. Yep. And as we start the conversation, all of you customers are asking about Mythos. I have thousands of conversations in the last weeks and months, okay? And I just want to offer, okay, Tanium, we have a strong point of view. We know we can help you. We are the only technology in the industry that can give you the scale and speed that you need to fix this problem. Okay, then reach out to us.
Yeah. I think it's also very clear now that the question isn't about whether Mythos will change the threat landscape. The question really should be about whether it already has.
Yeah, I totally agree. And again, thank you very much for watching. And seriously, we are here to help you. You deserve a real answer about Mythos and Tanium. I hope I came across we have a strong point of view. Then please reach out to us in tanium.com or directly. Thank you very much.
Thank you.